Hey guys, my name is Garrett Bernard and I'm here to talk to you guys about the quadratic formula today. So basically what the quadratic formula is just a really cool tool that you can use, a really cool formula that you can use when given a quadratic function to find the solutions to that quadratic function. Now, to review quadratic functions, when you graph a quadratic function on a Cartesian plane, you get like this fancy U shape, okay? And that U shape will cross the x-axis, and that's your x-axis is right here, your y-axis is right here, okay? And when basically a solution is just when the y value is 0, so it's whenever it's gonna the function will cross your x-axis. That's what we're looking for here. That's what the quadratic formula is gonna provide for us. That's what it's gonna give us when we use it. Is that solution right there and that solution right there. So, without further ado, actually let's kind of go over and review the standard form for a quadratic function that we're going to get. So we got f of x, which is kind of like a fancy way of saying y. F of x equals a squared, or excuse me, a x squared plus b x plus c. So this a, b, and c, these are all constants. A and b, we can call those coefficients, and what coefficients are is just a constant that sits out in front of a variable, and a variable is that's our changing value, that's our x values, that's what those are the numbers that are going to be changing. And so so we call these, once again, we call these coefficients or constants. This is a constant right here, and then we call these coefficients because they sit out in front of a variable, which in this case is x. Okay. So why these are so important? These a, b's, and c. That's going to be super duper important for our quadratic formula. That's what this is going to be our key ingredients in order to so we can use our quadratic formula. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Okay. So here is our example quadratic function. We have x squared plus 3x minus 6, okay? So we talked about our ingredients that we need for a quadratic formula, and I'm going to show you right now why we need those ingredients. So our quadratic formula, at first I need to tell you what that is. It's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So, and there's a little jingle that goes along with this that can help you remember that. It goes x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? And you guys can, since it's a video, you can rewind it as much as you want and laugh at my awesome singing. So that is our quadratic formula. Now I told you guys that a, b, and c are going to be super important. And as you can see, we have all these a's and b's and c's in this equation, and so we're going to need to fill all these in. So that's when we look back up here at our given function. Okay. So first we're going to look at our a. Well, our a, we can see, is going to be a 1. It's our coefficient. It's an understood 1 that's out in front of that x, okay? Because if it was 0, it would just be that x wouldn't exist. It'd be nothing, and it wouldn't be a quadratic function in the first place. So we have our understood 1 out there, so our a, sure enough, is going to be 1. Our b is going to be the second coefficient, okay? And that's going to be a 3. Okay, so we have our 1 and a 3. And then our c will be this constant out here, negative 6. So we have our a, our b, and our c. That's awesome, because in order to fill out this equation, that's what we needed. Our formula, that's what we needed. We needed an a, and a b, and a c. So we have all three ingredients to find out what our solutions are, and that's x, okay? So we're going to find our solutions to this quadratic function with the quadratic formula. So we have x equals negative b. So we have a negative 3, okay? X equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of b squared, okay? So 3 squared minus 4ac, 4 times a, which is 1, and a c, which is negative 6. And I'm going to put that in parentheses, actually, just to keep everything sorted nice and neat. So, and then don't forget all over 2a, which, what's our a? Our a is 1. Okay. So, super cool. So we have a little bit of simplifying arithmetic to get through, but besides that, that's our full, we have filled in all of our ingredients for our quadratic formula to find our solution. So all we need to do now is just do some arithmetic and simplify, okay? So, let's do that. Alright. Here, I'll draw a little line right here, a little squiggly to kind of break everything up. So we have negative 3, can't do anything with that yet, plus or minus the square root of 3 squared, we know 3 times 3 is 9, minus 4ac. So we're going to kind of do all this together. So minus 4 times 1, which is just 4, times negative 6, that'll give us what? A negative 24. Okay, and we know a negative minus a negative is just plus, it's just adding a positive. So that's just saying plus 24, and I'll go ahead and change that now. Okay, so we got 9 plus 24 underneath this radical right here, which is awesome. And then we just put that all over 2a, which 2 times 1, we know that, that's 2. So we're pretty darn close to getting this all the way simplified. Okay, I'm going to work back up here. Let's see, we got negative 3, still can't do anything with that yet. Plus or minus, let's simplify this under the radical. 9 plus 24, that'll give us 33. Okay, all over 2. Super awesome. Okay, so some of you guys might not have ever seen something like this plus or minus, but basically, if I ask the question, how many solutions are in this, it's going to be 2, okay? So we can break this up into 2 solutions. That's what plus or minus means, okay? So this is 2 solutions, just like in the first picture I showed you where it crosses the x-axis at 2 points. So indeed it does cross the x-axis at 2 points. Okay, so we'll have 2 solutions. All we have to do is just break this up. So negative 3 will go plus square root of 33 all over 2. And negative 3 minus the square root of 33 all over 2. And for me, that is pretty simplified, and we got 2 solutions. So we got x equals negative 3 plus the square root of 33 over 2. X equals negative 3 minus the square root of 33 over 2. Okay, so that is going to be, these are going to be the x values which makes our output, or our f of x, equals 0. So whenever we plug in x, we get 0. So that is our solutions for our quadratic for our quadratic function here. Okay. If you guys have any questions, please just let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, and have an awesome day.